Hey, it's Andrew here. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about Social Security changes, the upcoming stimulus packages, and daily news updates as well. Today we're going to talk about how the average American could get up to $8,000 from President Biden's next stimulus plan. There are also reports that President Biden is pushing for more stimulus, even stronger than ever. We're going to discuss exactly why. We're also going to talk about Republicans, what they think of President Biden's plan, and exactly how they're going to try and stop this from happening. We also have a quick story on Social Security. A man in Oregon was just arrested for stealing $458,000 in Social Security checks. We're going to discuss the details on that as well, but before we do, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It truly goes a long way in supporting my work. Now, there are reports that President Biden is pushing for more stimulus even stronger than ever. Now, a lot of people have had the sentiments that the pandemic is kind of coming to an end. The economy continues to recover, so there is less and less pressure to approve more stimulus. Well, today, on Friday, May 7th, the jobs report came back really bad. Unemployment continued to go up, and experts actually thought it was going to go down. Because of this, President Joe Biden said that April's lower than expected job growth shows that his massive plans are needed now more than ever. The president rejected the idea that the federal unemployment benefits are removing incentives for people to return to the labor force. President Biden said, "This month's jobs numbers show that we are on the right track, but we still have a long way to go. My laser focus is on growing the nation's economy and creating jobs. My laser focus is on vaccinating, and my laser focus is on one more thing, making sure that the hardworking people in this country are no longer left out in the cold." And this is why that he is pushing for more stimulus even more than ever, because despite the fact that people are being vaccinated and the economy does continue to somewhat recover, the unemployment rate actually went up this month instead of going down. Now, the economy only added about 200,000 jobs, and they expected to add over 1 million. So things are not going as well as they'd hoped. At this point, most of you know that the two stimulus packages are first the infrastructure plan and secondly the American Family Plan. Now, although we don't expect to have another round of stimulus checks, as of now, things could change. But as of now, we don't expect to have a fourth stimulus check. Despite that, the average American could still receive up to $8,000 in either direct stimulus payments or indirect savings with tax credits and free college and free preschool. Now, the biggest stimulus here is the child tax credit. Now, of course, that is either $250 or $300 per month, depending on the age of your child. It's going to begin in July, and this next stimulus package could extend that until 2025. That would provide the average family, even with just one child, between $3,000 and $4,000 per year just for a single child. And this one is actually the biggest reason why I continue to say that if we can pass monthly checks for families, we should be able to also pass monthly checks for Social Security, because this monthly tax credit for children is going to cost up to $500 billion. And it's great. I think American families truly need the help, but people on Social Security do as well. And that $200 per month boost for Social Security would only cost $200 billion or less. So again, if they can afford the child tax credit, I honestly think they can afford the Social Security boost as well. So again, hopefully Bernie Sanders and other Democrats will push for this to make this happen. As of yet, we still do not have a lot of traction on it, but we still have not lost hope. We're hoping to still have that included in this bill, but they're definitely trying to include that $250 to $300 per month stimulus boost via a child tax credit, which would last until the end of 2025. They also want to approve a child care tax credit. This is different from the child tax credit. This would actually involve you having to show proof that you paid for babysitters, for other forms of childcare, and then the government would reimburse you via a tax credit for up to half of your childcare spending, up to $4,000 for one child and $8,000 for multiple children. So if you think about that, the average family with just one kid could get $7,000 in stimulus, and that is just directly from having a child, does not include any of the other stimulus initiatives. Now, a few things that people are not talking much about is health insurance stimulus. Now, they do want to provide over $200 billion to lower health insurance premiums for those who buy their own insurance. This would save the average person $50 per month on health insurance, adding to an extra $600 per year in stimulus. They also want to expand that earned income tax credit, which was recently increased from $530 to $1,500 for those who are low income but do not have children, so they could still get that tax credit, up to $1,500. Now, of course, they want to include money for schools, $400 billion to make preschool free, and 2 years of free community college, as well as $25 billion to expand the pandemic EBT, providing more stimulus in the form of nutrition assistance. They also want to expand free and reduced lunches at schools. And in regards to the unemployment boost, we don't have any details on that. Honestly, we don't expect them to include another unemployment boost in this next stimulus package. The unemployment boost at this point is becoming a little controversial. A lot of people are saying, hey, you're getting this boost, so you're not incentivized to go back to work. Honestly, I don't agree with that. I think the main reason people are not going back to work is because the conditions are not safe, right? We're still in the middle of a pandemic. We still have less than half of the country vaccinated. So people just simply do not want to go back to work and put themselves at risk, right? But let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But we do expect to have this first stimulus package approved by the end of September because that is the end of the 2021 federal fiscal year. And remember, Democrats are going to use budget reconciliation, and that is essentially a use it or lose it tool. If they don't use it by the end of the fiscal year, they will lose that tool and they will only be able to approve one more stimulus package. That is why we should have one of these packages approved in the next couple of months and then have the second one approved by the end of 2021. So really good news for millions of Americans. We should have a lot of stimulus payments coming soon. And again, if you add up all of these different stimulus initiatives, that would add up to over $8,000 for the average American. When you put together that child tax credit, that child care tax credit, lower medical insurance premiums, and free preschool as well. All of these things add up to over $8,000 for the average American. Now again, we're hoping they include Social Security in this package. I will keep you updated daily. As of yet, we still do not have Social Security included in this package, but Democrats like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren continue to pressure President Biden to include Social Security in this next package. Now, Republicans, on the other hand, are slamming these stimulus packages, saying that Biden is spending way too much, and they're going to do whatever they can to stop this stimulus from being passed. So let's take a look and see what Republicans had to say. This is an interview on Fox News from Representative Comer from Kentucky. And again, I just always want to point out that this is Fox News. It's not what I think. I actually mostly disagree with Fox News, especially when it comes to stimulus and especially when it comes to Social Security benefits. But let's see what they have to say and how they plan on trying to stop this stimulus. And then I'll give you my thoughts at the end of this video.
President Biden is defending his tax and spending plan, saying it's all about making people pay their fair share. JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon is calling the tax plan, quote, a little crazy, and just throwing money around doesn't work.
Of course, the CEO of a bank thinks it's crazy to give the people stimulus, saying it's throwing money around, but didn't think it was crazy when the banks were being bailed out from the American taxpayers' money, right? Kind of funny how that works.
He noted higher taxes and getting rid of the Trump-era corporate tax cut could actually hurt the economy. Joining me right now is Oversight and Reform Committee ranking member, Kentucky Congressman James Comer. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
First, a word on the tax and spending plans. Are you powerless to do anything to stop this? Do you believe they will try to push all of these plans through reconciliation once again?
Obviously, they're going to try to push it through reconciliation, but I will tell you, it seems to me like there are a lot of Democrats in the swing districts that are finally starting to buck up to Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and their big progressive push, because raising taxes just doesn't sound good on the inevitable TV ads that they're going to be hit with from the Republicans trying to take back the House. So I think there's some hesitancy among about 10 or 12 Democrats in the House, and that's why Joe Biden's finally signaling, well, he might be open to some compromise. I think right now they're trying to compromise from within the Democrat conference.
So he's right. The only thing that can stop the Democrats is the Democrats themselves. Democrats like Joe Manchin, if these moderate Democrats don't get on board, they're not going to be able to get this done because they need every single vote to use budget reconciliation to get this done, bypassing Republicans in order to sign this into law. He also mentioned the 2022 midterm elections. A lot of House Democrats and senators are going to be up for re-election in 2022, and these moderates would have a hard time winning re-election if they vote to increase taxes, because in these moderate states, Democrats have a hard time pushing progressive agendas because these states are so moderate. If you vote to increase taxes, if you vote to do things that are considered really progressive, your Republican competitors are going to slam you for that. And they're going to have ads all over the place. Oh, Joe Manchin voted to raise taxes. And Joe Manchin's going to lose his seat. I mean, this is for his livelihood. So these are the complicated dynamics at play. And this is the main thing that could stop the stimulus package from happening. Now, with that said, I don't think this is going to stop the stimulus package. I do think it's going to lead to a pared back package that is not quite as big as President Biden wants to approve. So technically, Republicans cannot stop Democrats from approving this through budget reconciliation, similar to this last stimulus check.
Yeah, I mean, look, yes, it may very well hurt them in the elections, but an even bigger point is the impact it's going to have on the economy and on people's lives. There's a great op-ed today in the Journal by Kim Strassel. She calls it President Joe Sanders, and she outlines all the misinformation that comes out of this White House every single day about every single policy. Now, President Biden is pushing for pharmaceutical companies to share their vaccine patents. Moderna worked for 10 years on vaccines. Now they want to just give it away. The White House says removing the IP protections would quickly get the rest of the world vaccinated. But of course, several industry leaders are arguing that any impact from this decision would not be felt for months, even years. And there's a massive impact on business. This morning, I had an exclusive interview with the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America CEO, Stephen Ubel, on the topic. Here's what he said.
Okay, so at this point, you've probably heard that President Biden is pushing the pharmaceutical companies to release their intellectual property, basically allowing other companies to make the COVID vaccine as well across the globe to make sure that the most people could be immunized as quickly as possible. Now, conservatives, economists, a lot of people are pushing back on this, saying that, you know what, you shouldn't have pharmaceutical companies spending billions of dollars and years creating vaccines only to give it away. It just doesn't make sense, and it's a socialist agenda. Well, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, but I'm going to be honest with you. We're in the middle of a pandemic. I know we've all gotten a little bit comfortable, but people's lives are still at risk. This is an unprecedented moment, and to give this vaccine out to help save millions of lives, I think is the right thing to do. And guys, I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this in the comments just for saying this because it's a little bit political, but if it means saving lives, if it means ending the pandemic more quickly, why not? I think that's more important than letting private companies make more and more billions of dollars on top of the billions that they've already made. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm not even going to end this interview, but basically the CEO came on and said, you know what? Not only is it not right morally to make us give away our information, it's also actually going to slow things down. He tried to argue that giving away their information would actually slow things down because these other companies are not equipped to actually manufacture and distribute these vaccines. Now, whether or not that's true, who knows? I mean, let's be honest here. It could be, it could not be. But obviously the CEOs of these pharmaceutical companies are biased, right? They're going to say this regardless of whether or not it's true. But it would go a long way in ending this pandemic and improving unemployment, getting this economy back on track, and of course, helping to save millions of lives. Now, with that said, we should have a lot of updates on the next two stimulus packages, Social Security changes, and daily news updates as well. So don't forget to subscribe. I will keep you updated. Now, quickly, I want to end this video with a report and a quick story on Social Security benefits. Oregon man pleads guilty to cashing $458,000 in his deceased aunt's Social Security checks. She was 114 years old. Investigators began monitoring this in February of 2020 after the Social Security Administration identified a 114-year-old woman who was still receiving benefits. This would have made her the second oldest person in the country receiving Social Security. Now, the shocking thing is that this woman actually passed away in 1971. So her nephew received her Social Security checks for almost 50 years. Guys, that is completely insane. $500,000 in Social Security checks. Now, he was not young himself. He was 74 years old when he was arrested. Now, as part of his agreement, he is going to pay back $458,000. He faces a $250,000 fine on top of that and up to 10 years in prison. He is already 74 years old. So as you know, I mean, he might live another 10 years or so. But guys, gosh, I mean, he stole $500,000 in taxpayer money. I mean, that is taxpayer money. That is honestly just makes me sick to see that people would steal this money. But I mean, 10 years, I don't know how I feel about that, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think should be the punishment for stealing 50 years of Social Security checks? I mean, he's 74 years old. Should he get a slap on the wrist? Should they let him go? Or should they throw the book at him and give him 10 years in prison? Probably spending the rest of his life in jail at this point. But I just wanted to share that story with you guys. I thought it was pretty shocking. And I thought you guys would like to see it, especially because I know most of you who watch my channel are on Social Security benefits. But guys, thanks again for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share this channel with anybody who you think might find this helpful. And until the next video, take care and have a great day.